Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday weather outlook for the southern region brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. We've been talking about much of this week about the upper level pattern, digging a deeper trough into the western United States while the strong subtropical branch of the jet stream rode over a sizable ridge that was going to be parked over parts of the Gulf of Mexico. The animation in the background here is actually showing you a series of dots which are color-coded according to whether or not we were approaching record cool weather, which would be over in the blue dots like you saw there through California and the West Coast, or approaching record warmth, which is what you see in the dots that are there near that ridge. So parts of the south central part of the United States here saw some very much summer-like weather out of this flow pattern. And what we need to do today is figure out where this pattern's taking us, because last night it produced some pretty strong storms on the northern edge of our southern region. You can actually see the northern extent of that warm air right here. And while we did get some storms that kind of spread through this part of Texas, part of Oklahoma, getting over to Arkansas over the last 12 hours. Most of the news reports this morning are going to be about the storms that were in parts of Kansas City over towards St. Louis and into southern Illinois, because this series of storms riding along that warm front right there produced quite a bit of hail. So as we think about where this pattern's taken us, let's go straight to the upper levels of the atmosphere. The main shortwave is still sitting right back here with the subtropical branch of the jet stream running over this sizable ridge that's parked in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, as this shortwave finally ejects into the central plains, it's going to give us a multi-day severe weather threat and also increase precipitation quite a bit here in the near term through parts of our southern region. In fact, let's just go take a look at the last 72 hours of total accumulated precipitation, because the first system that left us at the beginning of this week, the one that took off here in its wake, did put down quite a bit of rainfall stretching from parts of northern Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, all the way over to the Carolinas and southern Virginia. Here were the storms that went through last night. You can see that narrow corridor of very heavy rainfall, plus the more light rain associated with those showers and storms that ran through parts of central Texas over toward Arkansas. Well, adding to this is our next 7 days of total accumulated precipitation. And we're going to be watching two systems, one that emerges here and then races off to the northeast, and then a second one that emerges here to start the weekend and does a very similar path. Now, the good news is that overall, the next system number 2, has backed off in the models on the total accumulated precipitation stretching from eastern Texas up through parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, and the northern parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. So we're now seeing widespread 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches rainfall, no longer seeing the 3+ inches that we were worried about out of this. So with this as kind of the backdrop in the near term, let's go ahead and take a look at what the Storm Prediction Center is suggesting for the day today. So when we look at where we're worried about storms, we can see that it's really going to be in parts of the Midwest, but we need to keep an eye on this region. We're going to see the timing of the possibility of storms in parts of Oklahoma and Texas as we look out here into the near-term modeling. Once we get into the day on Saturday, though, Saturday as the system wraps up into parts of Illinois, major severe weather risk in parts of Illinois, but the main frontal boundary will be pushing through the lower Mississippi River Valley. And as we get into the day on Sunday, this system just pulls too far to the north, and therefore the frontal boundary that's left over this part of the southeast and mid-Atlantic is just too weak and not moving at enough speed, and doesn't have the great upper level instability or wind shear to produce another day's worth of severe weather. So we could get a brief line of showers and storms that move through the Carolinas and Georgia, but you'll see here they fizzle out in the forecast model runs. So let's go straight to it. I'm going to go to the high resolution NAM. Let's pause it about 11 o'clock this morning. Now, during the day today, very warm conditions down here across our southern region, and we could see some storms just pop in that heat, so don't be surprised if that happens. But as we work our way through the day, I'll keep a close eye on this part of Texas and Oklahoma for the potential for those storms to pop. This is 2 p.m. this afternoon. Let's work our way into the evening. Now, by the time we get to 6 p.m., remember we were kind of watching this area here for the potential for some storms, and this is out ahead of the main system that still needs to eject by Friday night. So as we play this one forward, let's get into the evening hours and into about midnight. So again, what do we see in through this area? Widely scattered showers and storms, and that's why the Storm Prediction Center was keeping an eye on this area for possibility of some of them being severe. As we work our way into the early morning hours on Saturday, this is when the main wave finally ejects out here into parts of Kansas and Nebraska. So if we keep an eye on the southern edge of it, this is Saturday morning, getting into the middle of the day on Saturday. So this is 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and noon Central Time. So at that particular point, the upper level front will be moving right in through this area. So this is where we start to see some of the stronger storms erupt, and then they're going to move over toward the lower Mississippi River Valley by late in the afternoon and early in the evening. So see it there by 5 o'clock. In the overnight hours, this very narrow band of showers and storms pushes through like Memphis, stretching all the way back down here to parts of central Louisiana. Again, this is 11 p.m. And throughout the overnight hours, these storms will likely keep a few of us awake here in parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, getting down into Mississippi and Alabama, such that by early Sunday morning, the main frontal boundaries now hit the Appalachian Mountains, and we're going to watch the very narrow extent of showers and storms stretch back toward New Orleans and Louisiana. But you notice, as the system pulls to the north and east, by Saturday afternoon, we're going to watch again for the possibility of storms to pull up right through this area, but it just doesn't have the same kind of pop that we had earlier with that stronger front and deeper instability. So that's what we're looking out for here. To take it from there, I'm going to switch over to the European model. Let's get this one playing and pause it right here. So let's get our way through the day on Saturday. This is Saturday afternoon and evening. Same story we've just seen. Getting into Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon and evening. So you notice here that the European model is really not even picking up on those storms, but I'll tell you, keep an eye in this area on Sunday evening just for the chance for some showers and storms. So what we really need to do with this model is look at system number 2. So you see the low emerging here by Monday night, and this one again is a little bit weaker than we had been seeing in the earlier week model runs. But you see on Monday night, spreading from Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas into Arkansas, quite a bit of heavy precipitation that then spreads over into, well, Tennessee, Kentucky, and then down south into Mississippi and Alabama. So this is now Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, and evening. And then as we work our way into Wednesday morning, this system has moved itself off of the coast. Now, if we go past that, high pressure is going to dominate. The pattern is going to shift a bit, and we're going to cool down here as we work our way into the middle of next week. And it could give us a bit of a drier time period, which would be nice for some folks here. So if we just take a look out that far, let me show you what the pattern is going to do. This is only looking at day 10, and the models have really adjusted this particular time period, specifically by pulling this trough farther into the Atlantic, allowing for a little bit of temporary ridging to happen over Greenland, and it's really set up an interesting dynamic out west. And I've got to watch this carefully to see if we truly develop maybe a high or low pattern that could increase the strength of the subtropical jet into week 2. Now, why I say that is not so much for most of our southern region, but the very southern part of the southern region could stay very active with showers and thunderstorms on this pattern. And you can see that here as we look out specifically into week 2. So this is going to be the 3rd of April through the 10th of April. And we notice that while this section of the country is still showing up with a drier bias, and many folks here, especially centered on Tennessee, Kentucky, northern Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia are going to love this, we still see the influence of that strong subtropical jet stream maybe keeping from south central Texas over toward Louisiana on the wetter side of things. This could be good for the drought issues we do have in southern Texas as we progress through the year, but it could also slow down any sort of effort we have to get that crop planted right now. Going beyond this, let's look at temperatures. We're going to look at actual high temperatures today, not departures as we've done all week. Let's look at actual highs. So in the day on Friday, we got 90s in southern Texas, 90s in parts of Florida, and widespread sector here of 80-degree weather or upper 70s at least. So as we play this one forward, let's see how we get into the day on Saturday. Saturday, the warm sector really expands up into the eastern Corn Belt. And look at this, from basically Louisiana all the way through North Carolina, we're going to be seeing temperatures deep into the 80s at times here, with 90s down in southern Georgia getting into Florida. Well, as that system rolls through, we do get a cool-off, but cool-off is a relative term for this time of year. So Sunday's high still in the 70s here across, well, the western half of our southern region, but still staying warm here before that frontal boundary gets through Sunday afternoon and evening along the east coast. But it does eventually push through, cools things off there back into the 70s. And look at this, we might see some 60s returning in and around Dallas, maybe some upper 60s degree weather on Monday, And then we just notice that the pattern next week, this is Tuesday's highs into Wednesday and Thursday, just doesn't quite get up to what we saw this week. And that's because of that overall pattern change cooling down with that broader trough extending like this with time as we get out into next week. So if we just look at the day 5 through 10 time period, what we see is the presence of that trough knocking our temperatures back a little bit. And I do want to stress that this is a little bit. This is not cold. This is 2 to 3 to 4 degrees cooler than average this time of year is not something that even most of us perceive, to be honest with you, as we still see temperatures in the 70s across our southern region with this pattern setting up. And about the only good news I could share with you is when it comes to that temperature pattern is as I look out here even farther, day 10 through 15, we've seen a bit of a model trend over toward a little bit warmer conditions during that time period. So even though you still see across much of our southern region the cool bias, it's not as cool as it was forecasted earlier in the week. To finish this up, give you one last long-range update this week. This is, again, April 8th through May 8th. This is the brand new model runs, and there's not been much change at all. You can see this almost looks identical to what I showed you earlier this week in our long-range update, and that is throughout the month of April into early May, we're expecting our southern region to actually favor near average to above average temperatures, and nothing in the European model shutting down that strong subtropical branch of the jet stream, which is why we're still anticipating a lot of our southern region to carry through a wet start to spring. All right, with that, we'll wrap it up right here. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Thank you.